This exhibition is kind of taking the lived experience stories of people who were admitted at the institution between 1920 and 1970, and they include notes by the doctors of those times. It's very amazing that this museum has records of those documents, which you can also see on display.
It actually started off with a very interesting and informal conversation with Dr. Jain and Quicksand and UnBox to kind of think about and see the potential of the archival case files that the NIMHANS have preserved over many years.
So we've got records dating back to the late 1800s, and you can actually get a good glimpse of what mental disorders presented at that time, what were the backgrounds of people who came in, what happened to their mental illness when they were in hospital. The various artifacts that we've collected, including artifacts of what patients left behind, are all very fertile material around which really to understand what mental illness meant.
You see a story here written which describes not only the story of those with mental illness, but also the psychosocial context in which it was there.
We've got a very diverse group of people. The museum is typically used by students of psychiatry and the family members of the patients whom we see. It's not exactly a public space where a lot of people come in, but to have a much larger group of people visiting and interacting with the contents of the museum is therefore very interesting for us.
These archives and the exhibition has helped our students learn about the history of psychiatry as well as how to take assessments of different kinds of disorders.
People have written here that their thoughts can be heard here, and people also have written that especially auditory hallucination experience, which was scary for them, now they know how a patient feels.
This is such heavy psychiatric information, but essentially they are all human stories, and it seems what it has evoked successfully in some way is that people did think of their own stories while seeing these stories, and they wrote about it. They actually used these cards and they have spoken about socio-political events that affect their life, or family pressure, or the caregivers in their lives.
Having people come here, having people interact with actual human beings who suffered mental illness way back in the early 1900s, I think is a great connect to get people engaging in dialogues around mental illness.
This exhibition is kind of humanizing these case files, which otherwise would have just been medical records, and using the art of storytelling to make them available for the public so that they know that they are not alone and these issues were there before and they are still there now, and they are part of a community, a safe space where they can seek help and find solutions to it.